Hello everybody and welcome back to Art a la Carte and episode 3 of season 2 of the 100 character draw challenge, because I've done the 100 character draw challenge once before, so that would be season 1, and since I'm doing it again, this is season 2. If you missed any of those videos, I will leave them linked in the description box below, but basically the challenge is I create about 3 characters each round. So each week you guys get to vote for the character that you like the best. My little dragon boy, Oren, he won the challenge, and so he moves on to Victor's Circle, which I have decided that for the victor of each round, I'm going to do a digital drawing of them. I haven't done Oren's yet, but he's on my list of things to do. I'll make a video or a post about that when I finish it. But if you're on my Patreon page, then you will get a free download of the line art and of the actual piece over there. So you can check that out. But today I'm going to design 3 new characters. Now for this challenge, I am drawing in this really cool antique-y looking sketchbook that I got off Amazon, and I really love it. I like the size of the paper, I like the color of the paper, I like the thickness of it, I like the frayed edges, I love everything about it. The only thing that's kind of a downside is the paper is really fibrous, so when you put down a graphite pencil or anything that you might want to erase, erasing does not do well on this paper. As does like trying to blend your color pencils, it tends to just kind of pick up a lot of fluff. So that's been probably been the most challenging. In the past, I've used ink and Copic markers to create my drawings, but for this one, I'm gonna try a couple of new techniques, a couple of different art supplies to see what I think about them. So for this first one, I'm going to actually color her using acrylic craft paint. I think this should go down really well, and we'll see how it turns out. So the inspiration for this character, I wanted to give her really big horns, like those goat or ram horns that kind of curl around the head. So that was kind of her inspiration. For a color palette, I wanted to keep it very kind of foresty. Her character is kind of like a warrior in the high mountain forests, and so she's got a lot of green. Initially I thought her costume looked a little Tinkerbellish, but when I got the coloring all done, and I did not intend this, especially when I colored her hair, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a very strong Poison Ivy from Batman vibe. So it wasn't planned, but right about here as I'm adding in the color, I'm going, maybe I should have come up with a different color scheme for this costume. But I like how she turned out. She's kind of cool looking. Maybe she's just cosplaying her favorite DC character. One of my favorite things about this challenge is including you guys in the helping to name the characters, because that has to be probably the hardest thing for me to do, is come up with a name. So in the comment sections after the different videos, you guys can leave your suggestions for names, and then I'll go through and pick out the name for that character. So that's what I did for here. You'll see it in a little bit. I chose to name her Lydia. She's kind of she doesn't look like she's a really vicious warrior. She looks like she's a little tender-hearted, growing up in a warrior clan. Maybe she's trying to find her way in the world. I don't know. She just looks a little too sweet. I'm getting a little innocent vibe from her, so she's got to toughen up a little bit. But I used the craft paint. It went really well. If I had a little extra time, I could have really gone in with the craft paint itself and done my shading and shadowing with acrylics. But I was running on a tight schedule, so I went in with my color pencils to add in some shading and highlighting, which worked fine, except that because I put the acrylic paint down, it kind of put a barrier on the paper, and so a very strong texture went on with the colored pencil. So you kind of get this grid texture where there's shading, which I wasn't overly thrilled with. But you know, that's why we do this, because I'm trying to figure out what works best with this type of paper and what doesn't work well. So yeah, it's a thing, but it's okay. So here we go. Our first character, Lydia. Now I don't want to limit myself to a certain genre or, you know, only this kind of character. In the season 1, I had it all kind of fairy tale themed, but it could be people or animals or even objects, as long as they kind of had a characteristic to them. So this is going to be my first animal-based character for this season, which I took and mixed a couple of different animals together. So I learned from another artist that when you are creating a brand new species of creature, that a trick to make it a little bit more believable is base it on real life animals. So you'll see, like in Beauty and the Beast, even though the beast was his own species, he was based on a lot of different animals, from bears to wolves, the lion, all those things kind of put in there because it gives us a sense of that somewhere that creature could belong. So for this one, I took a ferret because I found this really cute page with all these ferrets on. I was like, I want to draw a ferret. I kind of, for a split second, thought maybe I wanted to own a ferret, but I do not have time to entertain a ferret right now. So we will draw a ferret instead of owning one. Then I decided to give him a little bit bigger ears, kind of based on a mouse or a bat, and then give him bat wings. So, he's pretty cute. I don't know what size he is, if he's like the size of a real ferret or if he is tinier. I haven't quite done a size comparison to so you can see compared to a human, how big is it. I think it'd be really cute if it was like the size of a larger mouse, so it could fit into your pocket really easy, but still like the thin, slender look of a ferret. Or it might be nice if it was a ferret size too, because then it could like carry messages for you. That's very cute. So for this one, I didn't give him an actual name. His species name is a tree nut. So I think we should all have like a tree nut plushie. That is character number 2 for this one. And moving into our last character design, I decided again to push out a little bit and not do a fantasy, like fairy tale based character. I wanted to do something a little bit more modern. So I drew a kind of a generic schoolgirl. I don't know why. I was in the mood to draw a uniform, I guess. But as I was drawing her, she looked a little bit like Moaning Myrtle from the Harry Potter books. So I had to make sure that I gave her a uniform that wasn't Harry Potter color themed. I don't know. She looks like she's from Slytherin now, but there we go. I also did not tell you the technique that I used on tree nut. So with tree nut, I took the craft paint, but I watered it down a lot, so it wasn't as opaque, but it still gave a nice color to it, and that worked out actually out really well. I didn't end up applying any color pencil over top of it, so when I rubbed my finger on, I can definitely feel the texture of the paper has changed, so probably would have the same effect that the first one did with adding color pencil on top of that. With this school character, I decided to go back to the old school way of doing things and just using Copic markers to lay down the initial color and then going over top of it with the color pencils, which really is a nice pairing. So far, this is my favorite way of coloring in this book. For this character, I named her Molly. So these are the 3 ones that you get to vote for. Down in the description box below, I will leave a link to where you can cast your vote on which character you like the best. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on the next episode. And I would love to see what characters you're designing if you're doing the 100 character draw challenge as well. Make sure to tag me in your social medias. I have all of that information down below. So until next time, God bless you guys, keep drawing, being creative, and we'll see you in the next art video. Bye-bye!